cover some substantive issues for the next while on our broadcast, and we've gotten emails and people saying, why is this issue being discussed? And the issue why it's being discussed is because it's in all the newspapers and all the radio and television, and people are entitled to know what exactly is going on, and we're going to have representatives from both sides, both from Rav Aaron and from Rav Zalman Leib. Both of them proclaim themselves Rebbe, and the focus has shifted to Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and we begin with Cory Bick. He is a spokesman for Rav Aaron's side, an official spokesman, part of the public relations firm that represents that community. Cory, we appreciate you being with us at this hour. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on.
So tell us what transpired. Rav Aaron announced that officially he is moving from upstate New York, from Kiryas Yoel to Williamsburg, Brooklyn, set up a tent. How many people were you told were there today?
I was told that there were 10,000 people there. I saw a Daily News photograph from the Friday night Shabbat of the street outside the tent, and many more times that. So certainly a lot of people in and around the tent for Shabbos.
Okay, so I've heard different numbers, and you're saying 10. I heard some of the supporters say 7,000. I've heard some say less. Obviously, there was a lot of people that were there. Now, does this change the focus, the fact that Rav Aaron has moved to Williamsburg, Brooklyn? Is that changing the tone, the level of what's going on, the controversy, the fight between the brothers?
Well, it's, the focus obviously has been, I think, in the media on the suspicion issue, but, there's an issue of entities have to name Grand Rabbi, and the previous Grand Rabbi, Moses Teitelbaum was named by a board, the board of the congregation. And at issue is who are the lawful board, who constitutes the which lawful board, and we believe it's obviously, we're saying it's the board who supported and recognized Rabbi Aaron that has that standing.
Now, I hear what you're saying, but I hear two different things from the Rav Aaron side. I hear one that there was a will that designates Rav Zalman Leib as the Rebbe, and they say that when the Rebbe wrote that will, he was suffering from different conditions, so therefore it's not valid. And I hear alternatively that the Rebbe doesn't choose the Rebbe; it's really the board of directors who choose, which is what you're saying right now.
Well, clearly, and I think that's rules that have always been followed. Rabbi Joe, also a blessed Maria, he left the will recommending or stating there should be no Rebbe after him. And board of the congregation, over 20, I guess, years ago, stated, made the recommendation, made a unanimous decision to select Rabbi Moses Teitelbaum, even though there was this will. So it's important to note that in the context, and then we're here to religious leader makes a recommendation, and there is, something said to that.
Well, but the two issues that you've raised, just because if that's the case, if you're looking for the board, from what you had said on or some of the Rav Aaron supporters had said the other night, is that there was a 10 o'clock about 3 nights ago where there was a reading of the will from Rav Aaron's side, where they didn't have an actual, but they had an eyewitness who said that they heard directly from Rav Aaron designating him as Rebbe. Why the need for that if it's a question just of the board?
Well, the point is that people care what the Rebbe and what his and there were issues, obviously, the courts about what is appropriate and what is legitimate, factual, but important, and it's, it's very important for people and what are, in fact, the rules that we follow. And yes, there was a bed in that made a decision, but again, were clearly appropriate people as well. Maybe, standing who were on that bed, but the question is, were the people who were those people selected by a lawful board? And that has not been the case.
Well, let me shift gears for just a moment, and perhaps this is something which I'm going to ask all sides.
Am I coming through clearly, by the way?
We're chopping up a little bit, so did you want to try calling us from a landline?
If that makes you easy, give me 30 seconds and I'll call you.
No problem. So you call me from a landline, because, the issue that I'm going to ask both sides over here is going to be, how do we effectuate a change for positive? How do we create peace? How do we resolve the tensions? Because while the Rebbe was alive, it was really theory who was going to be the next Rebbe. Now that it's an actuality, the question is, how is this going to be adjudicated for all sides, that it should be peaceful? Because otherwise it's go on. It will be resolved by the courts, which is all likelihood that's what's going to happen if there's no resolution by the parties themselves. It will be decided by a secular court. Or is there a way that both sides can work together and resolve this issue? That certainly would be the best scenario. I think the one that people inside, not from the outside for sure, would love to see. So these are the issues that remain on the table. And we are going to hear from a representative from Zalman's side in just a little while, as well as we try to cover extensively what is taking place. Cory, is that you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I can hear you a little bit better. The question that I'm going to raise for both sides, what should be done and what are the conditions for peace to reign between your side that you represent and the other side of Zalman?
Well, I think it's not useful to have those kind of discussions in the media, if you will, and I respect you for asking those questions, but this is not the forum to have that kind of discussion.
Well, I'm sure it's a question that's been raised.
There's no question about it.
And there must be some fundamental issues that need to be addressed in order to have this done.
No doubt there are, but we've stated our case that the lawful board supports and has designated Rabbi Aaron, and we believe, and that the lawful board's recommendations what to be followed.
Yeah, but let's look at the situation. Here you have two qualified individuals, two brothers that would both want to be Rebbe, and obviously only one can be Grand Rabbi for the whole Satmar community unless you divide it in two. But obviously, by the move by Rav Aaron this week to Williamsburg, this has raised the stakes where Williamsburg has become, so to speak, the battleground. I even heard terms from Rav Aaron's camp and others that said this is showdown to see who can bring the most followers and who can get the most attention in Williamsburg this Shabbos. So the question that I'm raising is a very legitimate one, is what are the terms? First of all, are there peace talks going on? Let's begin with that.
I'm not aware of any kind of discussions along those lines, and certainly we would welcome the embracement of Rabbi Zalman's followers of Rabbi Aaron.
We're speaking with Cory Bick. He is a spokesman for Rav Aaron Teitelbaum's side in the bitter dispute between brothers of who is going to be the next Satmar Rebbe. We're going to be back right after these messages. Stay tuned. And when we come back, we'll take some of your phone calls at 212-769-1925 or 1-866-JEWISH-RADIO, 1-866-JEWISH-RADIO. a little while we'll hear from Zalman from Zalman Leib's side, and he will explain that side's position. Again, our number is 212-769-1925 or 1-866 Jewish Radio. If the lines are busy, which they are likely to be, you can also email us at zev@talklinecommunications.com, zev@talklinecommunications.com. We're going to be right back, so go away. Everybody is talking about one of Borough Park's original stores, Mike's Dinette. 30 years at the same location. They have a great selection of dinette chairs and tables to choose from. Mike's Dinette has a full selection of vinyls and fabrics you can repolster or replace your existing chairs at very affordable prices. Mike's Dinette is located at 3823 13th Avenue, corner 39th Street in Brooklyn. That's 3824 13th Avenue on the corner of the Colo Grocery. Call them at 718-633-4004. That's 718-633-4004. Come and let the experts assist you in helping you choose the right combo. Ask them about their specials. Remember, Mike's Dinette is set to fit everybody's budget.
WMCA New York and the world on Radio AOL at WMCA.com.
I just feel like I'll be treated straight up. I'll get what I want, I need. 2006 is the 50th year that the dealership's been around. They're laid back. Mike will have an old sweater on and old khakis, some loafers, and the salesman will be laid back. It's definitely comfortable. You expect it to be slick, and they're the anti-slick. Do I believe that they do better maintenance work and service work than anybody around? Would I send my brother or my mother or father there? Absolutely. In every single category, I think they're praiseworthy. I wouldn't bother going anywhere else. Because of Mullane Ford, I feel like I found my last dealership, the dealership that I would send all my friends to in a heartbeat.
Mullane Ford is in Bergenfield, New Jersey, on Teaneck Road, just north of Route 4, or visit WMCA.com for directions. Mullane Ford, just real people selling good cars at fair prices.
I love Mullane Ford.
Emulate the habits of winners, not the also-rans. Food for thought from WMCA Good Guy Radio.
The following letter was written by Sergeant Leroy P., U.S. Army.
I'm currently on my third tour to Iraq. Never have I ever seen so much love and support from people I don't even know. My mom always told me that there are angels among us. And right now, I really do believe that. Very much.
Your support may be the most important thing our troops can carry with them. To show your support, visit americasupportyou.mil. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Defense and the Ad Council.
You're listening to WMCA New York. This hour of programming is paid for by the Talkline Communications Network.
We're going to Daylight Savings Time. Our program will be heard every Thursday night on WSNR 620 on the AM dial from 11 until midnight. That's every Thursday night on WSNR 620 on the AM dial from 11 to midnight. Looking forward to being in touch with you then.
Step into the zone, the Glatt Zone Butcher Shop Takeout and Caterers located at 1316 Avenue J in Flatbush. Their fresh meat section is all cut on premises by the Master Butcher. Under the strict supervision of Rabbi Babad and Kahila Kashrus, they have a takeout menu of over 200 items, including their famous self-serve salad bar with over 30 different fresh salads. Make sure to check out their daily specials, especially the Thursday special. For all your Chones enthusiasts, 1 pound Chone, large slice overnight kugel, 1/2 pound coleslaw, and a can of soda, all for just $7.99. And don't forget that Glatt Zone is now open Thursday nights until 12 midnight. Glatt Zone is the number to call for all your catering needs. Weddings, bar mitzvahs, Shabbatons, hotels, you name it. To place your Yom Tov orders, call 1-866-GLATT-R-US. That's 866-GLATT, the letter R, U.S. Palazzo is located at 1316 Avenue J between East 13th and East 14th Streets in Flatbush. Say hello to Slimy. Palazzo, we look forward to serving you, and you'll look forward to coming back.
Telecom can help keep your business or home safe and secure. They'll install the very latest in security systems, access control, and closed-circuit television equipment. Metropolitan Telecom works with the very best equipment on the market and will always make sure you're more than 100% satisfied. With their quality work and service, you'll never need to worry. When you leave, your home and business is secure with Metropolitan. And when you need help, they are quick and efficient. They can also supply your telecommunications needs, including telephone and voicemail systems. And they service businesses and homes in the tri-state area with expert and immediate service at affordable low prices. Leasing options available. Call for a free estimate. 877-NYC-ALARM. That's 877-NYC-ALARM. Call now. Be safe.
Did you ever consider hosting your own radio or television show? We can help you get on the air. Talkline Communications works with broadcasters as well as with TV and radio stations in New York and nationwide that lease time, all at competitive rates. We work with doctors, lawyers, and other professionals, as well as with ethnic broadcasters. For more information about hosting your own radio or TV show, please call 212-769-1925, 212-769-1925. And out of New York, call 1-866-MY-TV-SHOW. That's 1-866-MY-TV-SHOW.
JewishWorldReview.com. 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 JewishWorldReview.com.
And we are back. We're going to be speaking for a few minutes more with Cory Bick representing Rav Aaron's side. Then we will switch and have Rav Zalman's side represented. We're going to take your phone calls right now. We'll try to take as many phone calls as we can. And please try to be brief and to the point so we can get a lot of you in there. Okay. Cory, we have you on the line, and let's go first to, I believe we have Monroe, New York. Is that Moshe from Monroe?
Yes, hello?
Go ahead. You have a question or a comment?
Yes, I want to ask. I don't understand why here in Monroe they have like a few thousand children. They have separate schools. They're not even under the bound. They have like 75 schools up on their bound. So instead of here in Williamsburg, why does he stay in Monroe and try to get all the schools on there?
In other words, you're saying why does he try to consolidate his power in Monroe? Is that your question? Okay, let Cory respond to you.
Well, we're not going to debate, the issues of what's going on in Monroe. The issue is simply who is the Rebbe and who constitutes the lawful board.
Okay, well, I think...
Which board to make him Rabbi in Monroe? This is my question. Which board? Is there a board to make him Rabbi in Monroe? Do you know names of board that made him Rabbi in Monroe?
Well, what was his name? Was it done by a boy, or did his father do it?
This is my question.
Okay, Cory.
Well, we're talking about we're not talking about the selection or the designation of a rabbi in Kiryas Joel. We're talking about the designation of a grand rabbi here. So we should not be mixing the issues.
Okay, thank you for your phone. Devin in Williamsburg writes, why does Rav Aaron why does he want to come into Williamsburg? Why can't he stay in Monroe? In fact, that the Grand Rabbi Teitelbaum also lives in Monroe as his headquarters.
We feel it's appropriate to be in Williamsburg, and when we're trying to make very clear a statement that there has been folks who have tried to usurp institutions, and what we're looking to do is that, with Williamsburg being the seat of the Hasidic movement of the Satmar movement.
I can understand Williamsburg being a central point
for the Grand Rabbi to have at this seat. And most of the Satmar movement is in Williamsburg. It's probably 75% of the Satmar movement in terms of its community members.
Then we get to our busy phone lines. What about putting it to a vote among the Hasidim?
Well, there are, as we stated at the outset, there are already a pro appropriate bylaws that govern the community, and that's what ought to be followed lawfully, and that's one of
the question, though, would it... Rivera start Monroe and Williamsburg, look how many people showed up in the tent. From Zalman, Leib side, I'm sure is going to say the same thing. So each one is saying that in order to be Rebbe, you need to have Chassidim. So if you believe that your side has more followers, more Chassidim than the other side, why not put it to a vote?
There is already standards, and there's already standards that we have. We're not looking to do a debate on the air.
Okay. Let's see if we can get some more people that have questions. Frankly, it may make sense to put it to. I'd be curious to see a poll or see where most of the people sympathies lie. Then
the board is vote.
I hear you, but the point that I'm saying to you is something else. If each side claims that they have the support in the streets, board notwithstanding, wouldn't you want to take a poll or a vote and see where the actual numbers are? If you come and say 10,000 to 1 or support your side, that would have, I think, more power, more credence, wouldn't it?
There may be some more standing to that, but the bottom line is there are rules that govern, and they should be followed. Very simple.
Okay, let's take some more phone calls and for a few minutes more. And okay, go ahead. You have a quick question or comment because we want to get to
some more phone calls. Hello.
Yes, quick question or comment.
A question.
Go ahead.
I would like to know how many times is he planning to bring in all the people from KJ?
In other words, you say
will it be every week or every month, once a month?
What are you referring to? To Williamsburg?
To Williamsburg, right. Putting up a tent and bring the supporters from KJ from upstate.
Anybody who is out there at the tent knows that there weren't buses, that 80% or more of the people were in fact from Williamsburg. And the only folks from outside were delegations from communities around the world as a show of support for Grand Rabbi Aaron.
There's over 40 buses.
Only 40 buses came in to
over 40 buses. We're still going back to Monroe. It's not a secret.
Okay. Were there 40 buses that came in as far as you know, Cory?
I was told a small number of buses, and if one knows, how many folks would be on, a bus, it doesn't come anywhere, it doesn't come anywhere affecting the fact that 80% of the people, 80% of 10,000 or more people were from Williamsburg, and the bottom line is that the folks from Williamsburg more than predominated. And, clearly people from from Kiryas Joe will come to Williamsburg.
My question is, how many times will it be once a month or once a week? How will it go?
And then we want to know, will there be buses on a regular basis, or this is just for the showdown today?
People will come to Williamsburg because it's the seat of the Hasidic movement, and they will look to worship in Williamsburg,
Okay, thank you for your phone call. Okay, let's squeeze in a couple more phone calls, and I believe we have Michael in Muncie. Okay, Michael in Muncie, you have a quick question or comment for our guest. Go ahead, Michael in Muncie. Okay, go ahead. Yes, go ahead. Michael, are you there?
I heard a question.
Hello? I was told that there were no buses. Virtually no buses. I was just sent an email.
Hello?
Yes, you have a question, Michael. Quick question or comment?
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
I heard a question asked about what can be done here, to make peace.
Right.
My question is, why, every time when there is two people who have a differential, they should go to a Western, to a Dintorah, right?
Right.
Why aren't they going to a Dintorah?
So your question is, why isn't it going to quarter Jewish law? Okay.
Yes.
Cory.
Well, hello.
Yeah, well, as I stated before, there is a board and there is a procedure that has to be followed, and his board that would be selecting. So there's no disputes here. There is a Grand Rabbi. The Grand Rabbi is Aaron, and the board decided. That's what happened. It's not a negotiation, and there's nothing more to say on that.
Okay, anyway, so thank you for your phone call. I want to thank Cory. We're going to have to move on to the other side, but let me just read an email that came in. It's a nice email. Zev, I'm not a Satmar Rebbe, but I live in Williamsburg, and I attended Levaya and was at Boat Tishon on Friday night. And I would like to tell you, as an outsider, that I was impressed by the way everyone behaved. It seemed to me that the media was wishing to report a fight or scuffle, but there was none, not by the Levaya, not by any of the Shabbos services. I would say that it was a Kiddush Hashem and not a Chilul Hashem, especially what happened there in the past. It seemed to me that Reb Aaron had probably twice the crowd Reb Zalman Leib, but I do think there was enough for both. On a side note, I'd like to report the news about Borough Park. It just saw being reported in the media. It is important for parents listening to your show to know that there was a sexual predator posing as a police officer trying to lure girls in his car in Borough Park, and 2 incidents happened around 15th Avenue, so people who live along 15th Avenue should pay a special attention to that. Thank you for that email. Cory, I want to thank you for participating.
Thank you very much. And, it's important to note that there was no advertisements or anything for the, Rabbi Aaron's services, and there were for Zalman's Leib services. So just the fact that people just came, to see Rabbi Aaron and to worship with him, I think is very key and compelling as well. Thank you and your listeners.
Cory Bick, spokesman for Aaron Teitelbaum side. Thank you for being here with us. And we're going to be back right after these messages with a Zalman, a spokesman for Reb Zalman Leib's side. Don't go. We'll be back right after this. Aaron's side, and now we have a spokesman for Reb Zalman Leib's side. So, Zalman, thank you. Good luck. Thank you for being here with us. So tell me, I think Reb Aaron claimed about 10. I even got an email, 12,000 people in the tent. What about Reb Zalman Leib?
Well, first, I want to start with saying, Hoyge Hashem Kitot Kiloyam Chazai. We had this here this week to be B'tzil Maimanisa with Rabbi Shlita. It was Asha Aira, so I can't even describe how the look on the faces of the people were. There were thousands of people, although we don't use this all the time to talk about how many people were there. But each person's face was worth $1 million. Just the look on their face that for 27 years, some people thought that they were going to be hostages by a dictator, and it didn't happen. Now, they have, for 4 days, 24 hours a day, they have advocated for people to come in from all over the place. Actually, there were more than 40 buses, but even at 40 buses, that's about 2,500 people, and that's approximately how many people he had. They count everyone 10 times, and that's how they come to big numbers.
But did you have buses too? I got an email that says that you had 25 buses.
I don't know how many buses we had. I don't think that we have put buses in service for people to come in. People came by themselves to show their support, and basically all the people that came in from Monroe, he had all of his supporters from Monroe come in. Nobody was left.
Do you think the whole Monroe emptied out? There are about 15,000 people living in Monroe.
His supporters, which are anywhere from 30 to 40% of Monroe, and that's who came in, and some supporters from Williamsburg.
And how many people came out to the Satmar base matter for Zalman Leib was this week?
I didn't count, but it was standing room only. I had to squeeze myself in. It took me last night half an hour to find a spot where I could see whatever, and it was amazing.
It sounds like both sides, put on a display this week to show where they're coming from. Let me ask you a question that I asked Cory Bick, the representative. What could be done to, remember, now it's a practical issue. In the past, when you and I had discussed this, it was a theory because the Rebbe was still alive. Unfortunately, the Rebbe passed away. So what could be done? Should there be a vote to see who has the most support, or do you want a secular court to decide who's going to be the next Rebbe?
Well, the legitimate thing to do is when somebody has a claim, there's a procedure. You call him to a Toida. He actually said that his brother stole something from him and he was going to call him to the Toida. That was 7 years ago. And he has yet to send the first Azmuna. I think the time is now to send an Azmuna. If he has any legitimate claims, he shouldn't come in 5 days after his father passed away while his kaiva is still warm and make such a Chilul Hashem and be a Moed B'Malchus of the Ur of Rabbi Shalom the Torah.
There was no fighting. So this week...
no fighting.
But there was no Chilul Hashem necessarily. The Shabbos, if both sides were peaceful with one another. There was no skirmishes. There was no tension as far as scuffles that happened in the past.
His father left the will, and he comes in against his father's will, against his father's wishes, and he declares himself the Rebbe. That is incredible.
I understand, but from a practical point of view, how do we adjudicate? How do we try to come to a solution? Do you want the solution imposed by the court, or can something be worked out behind the scenes where both brothers work out some sort of deal where everybody is more or less happy? Because what's going to happen is you're going to either have it imposed by the courts, or you're going to be able to work it out by yourself. That's going to be the scenario.
I want to come back and I'll address that as well. When they're talking about people, this many people, that many people, it's basically all smoke and mirrors. All dictators have used this tool by saying how many people they have and how big their rallies were.
Well, why would you call the other side day? He's a Rav. You may not, let me ask you which you may not want to be his chassid, but why call him a dictator?
That's how he ruled for about 20 years as a dictator. Everything was done the way he wanted it. And he was...
But that's how a Rebbe, usually tells his followers what to do. I wouldn't necessarily call him a dictator, but people have to follow his dictates.
You could be a rabbi and a ruv, and you could be a person that you respect.
But 10,000 people showing up, or 7,000, that's an impressive amount, no matter how you slice it. I wouldn't necessarily call it a dictator.
Definitely there were no 7,000 people.
There were 5,000, 4,000, still big numbers.
There were about 2,500 people. And I would like to see him coming in every week for 12 months and see how many people are going to show up there at month 9, month 10.
Well, you may find out because the Rav Aaron is already moved to Williamsburg.
Well, we'll find out.
But the question I want to get back to, how do you want this imposed by a secular court, or can it be done either through a Jewish person, or the best way would be maybe the brothers getting together or representatives getting together and trying to work out a deal?
We have been ready to go to a Bezdin always. He has refused to sign arbitration. And we've always been willing to do elections, and we're still willing to do that. The proof that they don't have the majority of the people is that in 2004, when we wanted to do elections, they ran to court to stop it. Why did they stop it? The only reason is because they don't have the majority. And they wouldn't even entertain the idea of elections. Under the only circumstance that they would even consider and discuss it was that if they lose, they would get the percentage of assets of who voted for them. It's never heard of in a democracy that you go to vote and you lose and you get the percentage of what you want.
Before we get to the phone calls, and I'm sure that will be addressed in the phone calls, but a theoretical question. If, let's say, it's going to be adjudicated by the court is going to decide who the next Grand Rabbi is in Satmar, okay?
I don't think that the court is going to decide that. The court has a decision in front of it to make about who is the legitimate, who is the leadership of the board.
So who is in the board, by the way? Do you have a separate board than the Rav Aaron side has? Who's the board?
There's only one legitimate board, and the president of the board is Rabbi Khan.
And they say that they have a legitimate board. It's Friedman.
They can say whatever they want, but they're not the legitimate board.
Well, how was there a vote of all the membership that got rid of one board, instituted another board? Is that what happened?
Yes, there was a vote, and Rabbi Khan was voted in as the president, and the late Grand Rabbi certified that election. And I want to point out that they keep claiming that the Rebbe wasn't clear with his mind when he made the decision. The fact is that the Ran himself and his so-called president of his board went to the Rebbe before the Savua was written. I think this was before Zalman was appointed to be the ruler in Williamsburg. He wanted himself to be appointed as the ruler in Williamsburg. He was begging his father and telling him that, he goes, in the winter he goes to Miami, and in the summer it's better if he goes to Sharon Springs, and he wants to come in and help out. And basically, the Rebbe didn't go for it. And he was arguing back and forth. Let me just read to you a few things that...
Okay, then we're going to take some phone calls, yeah.
Okay. The Rebbe basically asked him what's going to happen with the yeshiva in Monroe. And he said, we'll think about it. I haven't decided yet. And the Rebbe told him that Mashiach will come until then. And we'll worry about it when Mashiach comes. And he said the father should wish, and then with the father's wishes, it'll be good. And so the Rebbe said, was wishing that Mashiach should come. So he said this as well, but, God should help that it should be a flucha and everything. And the Rebbe said, the Rebbe should help when he said that nobody means his own interest, like it says, so he said, why does it say only here? Why doesn't it say any other place? He said, it's because those who are not asking the Prophet and he looks at his son, just he takes it for himself. But these kinds of people, then the opposite is true.
Obviously they're attention and they're going to say otherwise. And let me ask a practical question. If the court decides that the board is Beryl Friedman's board, okay, theoretically, and Rav Aaron is the Rebbe, would you accept the issue of Rav Aaron?
I personally will not, and I know a lot of people that won't. We dare not force to accept Rav Zalman Leib as the leader. Rav Aaron can call himself another name. He has no claim to the name Satmar. As I told you last week, his mission expired as soon as the Rebbe passed away. He was only put there to help out his father while he was here. But there's a clear tabua, and the Rebbe made his wishes clear to his people, including Rav Aaron himself, who he wanted.
Here's an email question for you to our phone lines. It says, in the Jewish law, one can reject a particular bezdin, demanding to go to a different bezdin. For your information, Rav Aaron has said over and over that he is ready to go to a specific bezdin, but Zalman Leib has refrained from responding to the offer, which says much about his case.
It's not true. First of all, if he is sending us Zvuna, then we have a right to select a bezdin. And
he was a lawyer, right?
In recent years, some have said that we have to give the other side a choice of three. It's not accepted by all the Unim, but regardless, we've given them a choice of three Utadinim, and we're also willing to go to a Bezdin Shozabla, which is each side selects one or two, and they...
right?
But basically, he has refused to sign arbitration. He's refusing to sign.
Yanking Windsor writes, why did Rav Zalman let his brother Aaron to such shiva together? I think it's not a cover for the Shem of the Rebbe's after Tadik the Bracha.
Rav Zalman let him come, everybody let him come, there was nobody stopping him from coming. He didn't let him come.
Okay, and finally, where there are phone calls, what about, when I get back to taking a vote, if you took a vote, would you know exactly where the Chassidim stand and who will want to be Rebbe?
Of course. We have no problem going to a vote. As I said, the fact that they went to court to stop a vote is putting a nail in the coffin to their claim that they have a majority. They do not have a majority. It's just plain false.
Here's an email from a listener that is a non-partisan participant of both Rav Aaron's or Zalman's services. I can tell you the true numbers I've counted. Rav Aaron had approximately 3,200 attendees at his Friday night services. Rav Zalman had approximately 1,700 attendees at the same time.
Well, it's completely false. I told you, it took me about a half an hour to find a spot where I could see. And there was standing room only. I've never in my life seen the Medrash so full all 4 times the Shabbos.
Okay, let me take some phone calls right now. A lot of people have been waiting for a long time. let's go to Curious Joe first. And, okay, we'll go to Curious Joe first. I believe we have on the phone Joe and Curious Joe. Go ahead, Joe.
I think he is totally wrong. I think Rabbi Aaron will be the rabbi because he has thousands of followers that are going to go in fire for him. We went thousands of people out of KJ this week to support him, and we'll go every week, the full 12 months, whatever, that's going to happen. We will move into Williamsburg.
If you want to answer the question, Zalman, yeah.
Was that a question? I mean, they're saying they didn't have buses. Now he says they did have buses. They'll come in, they'll come out. Look, he can call himself the 10th Rebbe. He can do whatever he wants, but he has no claim to the name Satmar. He has no claim to the name Kali Yaakov Laz and Torah and all that. So, and his followers that like him, they want to go to him, that's fine. Let him build a shul, let him build Moses. We're not stopping him, we're encouraging him to do all that. But don't make claims that are unfounded. And if you have a legitimate claim, there's a procedure. Send a Azmuna, come to a Bezdin, do what's right.
Okay, thank you for your phone call. Just another email question is saying that Rav Zalman warned Rav Aaron through commuters that he should have come to Williamsburg?
It's totally not true. I mean, they totally lied. Let me tell you one more thing. I went Friday night when I went to Daven. I saw Williamsburg was plastered with posters, hundreds and hundreds of posters for people to come to this tent. I see posters all the time, but only this poster, every light pole, every construction site is loaded and the floor. So, and for 4 days, 24 hours, they've advocated. They have hotlines
Okay, let's take some more phone calls from some of the people, and let's go to Muncie, New York. Okay, Muncie, is that the Moshe Muncie? Go ahead, Moshe Muncie.
Hello?
Yes, Moshe.
I think the thing about the vote is wrong, because when they want to make votes, Moshe pretty much had to make he's not a Satmar Rebbe, he's not a Satmar Rebbe. They bring in a lot of folks vote for Zalman Leib.
Oh, so you're against the vote. You don't think voting would be any indicator?
No, because everybody's feeling he's not a Chutzid.
Well, I'm sure that people know there should be some procedure. I would like to see even a poll. I'd be curious to see even a poll.
The last time I was voting in Brooklyn, and people come to vote and they're screaming, hey, you're not a Satmar Rebbe, you're not a member. They're not allowed to vote. Okay. That's why they want to court to stop the vote. Not because they're afraid they won't make it. They have much more Hasidim than some allowed to have.
Well, it's not only a question of numbers, a question of, a lot of different issues that are raised, but I appreciate your phone call. Let's go to Shia in Williamsburg. Go ahead, Shia in Williamsburg. Go ahead, Shia.
What?
Shia, you're on the radio. Your question or comment?
Have a question?
Or comment. You called?
Yes.
Let's now move on to the next caller, okay? Because you have to get to the point. If you want to be on the air, get to the point. Okay, your quick question or comment? Go ahead, yes.
Yes. This is Isser in Williamsburg.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm not a Chassid, one of the few non-Chassidim remaining in Williamsburg. I have no agenda for either side. I just want to quote a few lines from the Jewish history book. If you don't mind.
Be brief, please.
Yeah, I'll be brief. In the year 32 BCE, ominous clouds were gathering on the Jewish horizon. Only a few decades earlier, the enmity between the Hashmonaim brothers, Aristobulus and Hyrcanus, and their rivalry for the accession to the throne of their parents, King Yanai and Queen Shlomis Alexandra, brought about the intervention of Rome in the affairs of Judea. This resulted in the conquest of Jerusalem by the Roman legions of Pompey the Great in the year 63 BCE. These events were the initial episodes which were to culminate in the final destruction of Jerusalem by Rome in the year 68 CE. Malchus Satmar, take heed.
Okay, I appreciate the phone call. There should be unity. I think that would be a wonderful answer if this could be worked out. without the intervention of the secular courts, I think that's the way to go. But
this caller mentioned that they went to stop the votes because we brought in people to vote that weren't Satmar. First of all, we never started the votes. We said that we wanted to make votes, and they went to stop it, and they didn't give any conditions under which they would be willing to do votes. They simply didn't want the votes, but they knew what the results were going to be. Now, to be a member, you have to pay a membership fee, and if they have an issue with who is a member, they could say a list of people, these are not members, but they didn't do that. And I know no one that is not a Satmar Chussid.
You know no one that's not a Satmar Chussid
that is paying membership and is going to come to vote. So it's completely false.
Here's an email question. The spokesman said that Rabban has no right to the name Satmar. Can you please ask him why they don't have a problem with the new appointment to Rabbi Shabbos and Motzei is also a Satmar Rabbi?
I don't know the details over there. I've heard many versions, so I can't make any comment for that.
Okay, we're going to only have room for one or two more questions, so we're going to ask that you be brief and to the point, so we can squeeze in at least a couple more questions. Your quick question or comment?
I have a question. He said, what made the mistake? Because he says that the boss has $40 from Monroe, and then he said the time was $4,500. Hello?
Yes?
Finish.
I think we have more than one person on the line, so we're going to go to the next caller. And please lower your radio when you do that, okay? Please lower your radio. And, okay. Your question or comment. Go ahead. Yes.
Hello, am I on the air?
You're on the air.
Okay, I have a question to the speaker, that it is absolutely not true that the Baron Side didn't send Asmana. To the best of my knowledge, Asmana was sent through the best of the Yosef several years ago to Zalman Leib's side. Their response was that they wanted to go to the local Satmar Rebbe, which the Baron Side claimed is paid by their board. Why don't we take an example from Rabbov, and there's disputes within the community? I'm sorry, you go to some outside Bezdin. They refuse to do that.
Okay, go ahead, Zalman.
Baron never sent an Asmana.
Not for Baron himself, but the people of his board.
They never sent an Asmana. And he refused to sign arbitration.
The fact is that Rabbi Yosef signed a heter to go to court for a Baron Side, which ultimately triggered this entire matter.
Tell me when you're finished so I can answer.
Okay. Go ahead.
The President of Yosef did not give a heter to go to court. They gave a limited heter to do a restraining order in court, and then they rescinded it because they saw what they did. They called into court people that they never sent an Asmana to. They took out a broad TRO which were not within the guidelines of the limited heter that the President gave. And they came out strongly against them for going to court without a heter. So, and in Baba, both rabbis signed arbitration. Here, Rabban is refusing to this day to sign arbitration. And he's never sent himself an Asmana.
But his board, the issue over here is between the people that have a right to control the boards. The Baron is not an issue. If these people are responsible for the Motzei and for the board, ultimately they decide. We don't need the Baron to sign.
So you're suggesting that we go to a Bezdin?
Yeah, take any outside Bezdin. Go to practical.
Let me answer you. Go to a Bezdin. The Bezdin is going to say one thing, and then Rabban is going to say, I'm totally not obligated to do what this Bezdin says because I didn't sign arbitration. So he's going to say, okay, I'm throwing out all these people. I'm going to take new people, and I'm going to tell them what to do.
Why don't you at least do one thing? Why don't you at least say, I will go to Tartikov, I will go to Mahalla Hura, provided that Rabban commits that he will follow this decision.
We take the neutral Bezdin. Three with the demons that they could go to.
What we're saying is, why don't you throw down the challenge and say, listen, here it is, everybody to see. Here's 1, 2, 3 Bezdins we will go to, and
you gave them a list of 3 that we're willing to go to. We're also willing to go to a Bezdin Shel Zavla. Now, the dispute is not the board. Dale Friedman is somebody that they will throw overboard as soon as they don't need him. The dispute is...
You're assuming that.
I'm not assuming that. That's a fact. They throw everybody overboard once they use up. They don't want to go to a Bezdin Ron doesn't want a side application. That's the dispute.
Okay, thank you for your phone call. One email question. This is an interesting one. You know, where Zalman Leib is the number 3 child, Rabbi Aaron is number 1. Whose side are the siblings on, and where are the siblings sitting Shiva?
The one brother of Lipa is sitting Shiva with the Grand Rabbi of Zalman, and the fourth son, I don't know where he's sitting. I think he's sitting in Borough Park.
And whose side is he on? Where are the rest of the family? Which side are they on?
I'm not sure where the fourth son is. I think he's leaning more towards Aaron, and Lipa, the sisters are with the Grand Rabbi of Zalman, and Lipa, of course, is with Zalman. The Rebbe told him that he asked him to stand by his side and help him out and make sure that nobody says anything against it.
Okay, we're going to squeeze just this is the last phone call. We're simply out of time. Okay, your question or comment?
Yes, I'm non-partial, but I have to both sides. First of all, in the will that Zalman has, it said it should be on Alamukam in Williamsburg, it says. And to Rabbi Aaron's side, when Governor Fraki came to Menachem Uvu, Rabbi Aaron and Zalman, when he go to Zalman, he asked if he has any question for him, he has to resolve the what? The seat of the pay.
I don't know what you're saying, but we're going to go to a legitimate caller because you got to clean out your pen. Anyway, your question or comment? Yes.
I have a comment.
Yes.
I'm working at the Moral Bus Company.
You work for the Moral Bus Company, okay.
Yes, and we have only 23 buses exact, and it's not true that they say that 40 buses we cover all, and we have only 82 buses, and only...
They couldn't rent the bus for someplace else?
No. We have 10 buses on the route every Friday. Before Shabbos we have 10 buses going from our road to Williamsburg and back. And this week we have 11 buses exact. You can check it out. And the camp was between 7,000 and 10,000 people only from Williamsburg. You have a few thousand people tomorrow, but they're not.
All right, then thank you for telling me the demographic of the buses. I appreciate it. Email got the fourth son that's sitting with Shiva with her iron. Okay, Zalman, I want to thank you for participating in our discussion tonight, and I'm sure we'll have it back. And fortunately, the story doesn't end tonight, so we'd love to see both sides able to work things out. That doesn't seem to be the case, but we appreciate you being here with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zalman, a representative for Rev Zalman Leib's side, and we heard before Cory Bick representing Rev Aaron's side, and I'm sure we're going to continue this conversation in future broadcasts as well. Thank you for listening. That about does it for me for tonight. We're all Jewish all night. Stay tuned next for Mashiach, and we are followed by Baruch Dovir from Golos to Gula at 5:30 a.m. I'll be back with you, God willing, Monday night at 9 p.m. And coming up on Wednesday night, Tom Swansea, running for governor, will be live in our studios. We'll have Efraim Halevi, one of the former heads of the Mossad. We're looking to schedule one night this week as well. Have a good Shavua Tov.
Thank you for listening to Talkline, America's #1 Jewish program with Zev Brenner. For more information on Talkline's full range of radio and television programs, please write P.O. Box 20108, Northwest Station, New York, 125.